What's good, everybody? It's your boy 313 Jamal. Look, man, let's talk about Jamal Agnew. As we all know, the Lions are moving him to wide receiver, and with the recent reports from certain reporters, it seems like they're very committed to turning him into a wide receiver full time. And I am very excited about this. This is something that I actually like. You know, I've said in my older videos way back, you know, when we drafted Agnew and after seeing him play his first year and then seeing what Tyreek Hill became, I'm like, turn him into a wide receiver. Don't even waste time using him on defense. And I'm glad that the Lions are turning him into an offensive player. But will it actually save his job? Will all this effort that the Lions are doing save his job? Let's look at what Agnew actually did. Y'all see the first year. I mean, he was out of this world on punt returns, almost 500 yards, you know, had 2 touchdowns. Second year, not so good, injured a lot, only played in 6 games, but he still had 27 yards of return on kick returns, which usually we get 25, so it's not that much more. And then, you know, this past year, 175 yards on punt returns, he still had a touchdown. And, you know, he had nine compared to 15, which is, it's less, but it's still solid. And then he had that 100-yard return against the Eagles, man, and he actually had 27 yards a return, so which is actually very solid. So he had a punt return and a kick return. His first year he had 2 punt returns. So this guy, he scores touchdowns and he has speed. And my one thing with Jamal Agnew has always been that every time he touched the ball on offense, he got a first down. I think he had 4 touches on offense. It's not a lot, but he got a first down every time for 35 yards. So 4 for 35 and 8 yards a touch on offense. So I'm thinking if he can learn a way to run routes, then it can help him. And when you just looking at these numbers, I mean, he had a couple fumbles, but how many did he lose? Like, that's more important. But I think Jamal Agnew has been very solid for the Lions, and I think they like him, and they figure they can't lose an offensive player like him, or a player who scores points, you know, a player so explosive. Our offense lacks explosion. Our offense lacks speed. You always say that. And I know people love Marvin Hall, but thinking about whether it's going to save Agnew's job or not, you have to think about Marvin Hall. And, like, Agnew could do what Marvin Hall does. I mean, all Marvin Hall does is run straight down the seam and get a hit at the guy and then make a catch. But Marvin Hall has made some spectacular catches. I'll give him credit for that. So Agnew will learn how to do that. But I have a lot of confidence that Agnew can learn how to be a receiver. I think most people are underestimating Agnew and his potential to be a receiving threat and a threat on jet sweeps and gadget plays. Jason Huntley could end up being the kick returner or the punt returner, or Ty Johnson, whoever. You know, Jason Huntley, he's going to be the kick or punt returner, and you can just have Agnew do punt return, and then you have him on offense. Like, and I think it could really work, and I think people are actually sleeping on Agnew in this area, because think about it, it's not like his competition is some savvy veteran like Danny Amendola that he's competing with or something. He's competing with Marvin Hall. It's not that hard to beat out Marvin Hall. He's still younger than Marvin Hall, and he still has potential. This was an all-pro player, and he had a solid season last year. You don't just want to get rid of him. Like I said, a lot of people always think Agnew not going to make the team, and he always ends up making the team. The Lions are really high on this guy. Bob Quinn is really high on his only all-pro guy. And I think, considering what the competition is, he can make this spot. He really could. And like I said, every time I've seen him on offense, he's got a first down, 8.8 yards per touch. So his explosion, we've seen it on offense. It's an extremely, extremely small sample size. But I think that Agnew has still a lot of potential as an offensive player, and I always thought he should have been a receiver. I wanted to convert him to receiver. As soon as I seen what Tyreek Hill started doing, and I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill. I'm definitely, because, you know, I think highly of Tyreek Hill. I said he's a top 5 receiver. I was saying that before they won the Super Bowl. So I think highly of Tyreek. He's not Tyreek, but he could be a poor man's Tyreek. You know what I'm saying? He can do exactly what Marvin Hall has been doing and still do the gadget plays. And Marvin Hall can't. Well, we didn't really use Marvin Hall for gadget plays. So switching to wide receiver save Agnew's job? That's yet to remain to be seen. But I think him switching to wide receiver, now he has a higher chance of making the team than if he just stayed at DB and competed with Huntley and Ty Johnson. Now that he's a receiver and on special teams, I'm telling you, offensive players get a lot of privilege. Now, if he comes out and looks good in camp, whenever camp, hopefully we can start some training camp a couple months from now, but whenever camp starts, if he looks good in the offense and is working and he's catching the football, then I think Jamal Agnew could make the team by switching to a wide receiver. But what do you guys think? Do you think that switching to wide receiver will save his job, considering that he's really competing with Marvin Hall for that roster spot along with Huntley and like Ty Johnson and guys like that? Or do you think he's never going to come back to the team? Or do you think him switching gives him a higher chance of making the team than if he just stayed a defensive back? And then you got to consider how high the Lions are on Jamal Agnew. They love this kid. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy 313 J-Mo. Let's see what Agnew can do on offense.